This is Dennis Itumbi's post castigating NASA bloggers and Mr. Philip Itale, James Smart, and NASA bloggers in general for what, according to him, is a fake story about the Iebc, SMS system that Kenyans really complained about earlier today. That really it's reflecting a problematic register. So he goes ahead to share a screenshot. As you can see, he sent some invalid characters to the number 70000, and the response he got is no records found, which is really the typical response you get, especially if you send this text after 4 o'clock this afternoon. As you can see, he did try his at 8 o'clock. So by this time Iebc had already done what they could and rectified or covered up, whichever applies. I don't know, but I know after 4 o'clock it was no longer reflecting. But early in the day, since this number was released to the public, Kenyans have received really problematic replies from this number when you send invalid characters, which really should not give you registration details. You send 0, 22, or 11, or 15, or different kinds of combinations of characters, and people would get real registration details. So that was showing that there was a problem in that register. But because they've gone ahead to dismiss the screenshots, saying that NASA people have manufactured those screenshots using apps online. I know that's possible, but again, if you go through all the online apps for screenshots, you can't get such a variety of text, texture, color, background, and you can't. It's not practical. I mean, if you're online, you can try. So that alone dismisses the case, because the screenshots shared are from all sorts of phones with different backgrounds and everything. I know you can get just a little variety, but not this wide variety. I mean, there's so many Kenyans who have just sent different screenshots, especially when you go on Twitter. But let's move on to something I want to show you. Iebc, let's go to their website. That's Iebc. Shortly after, a few hours after the SMS thing went wrong, Iebc posted on their Facebook page that the SMS query should really return an invalid response if you send an invalid SMS, which is correct. It should not give you records, but that is not what was happening. But then they go ahead to say that they are finalizing the testing of an online query platform. So this is what I'd like to draw your attention. So they're saying this SMS thing should be working according to them, but they're in the final stages of testing an online query platform, which should be an alternative to the SMS shortcode. So if the SMS shortcode is problematic, the online query should not. I mean, one of them should work. That's what we are saying. It's an alternative. So let's go to this online query platform. I know they are at a testing level and finalizing the testing. So it's not a question of details in the register, because that should already have been finalized. What they should be testing is really how this thing works, whether it works and all that. So let's go to that portal, and this is the Iebc voter verification portal right there. So this is what they are going to release in a day or a few days. I don't know, maybe in a few hours. I don't know, but this is what they're working on finalizing. So let's see how this thing works. Ideally, you should be able to enter your national ID number or passport number here, and then it gives you registration details. That's how it should work. And if you enter invalid characters, like they said here, that invalid queries should return an invalid response. So let's see. So let me enter an invalid query by just typing, you know, some random characters, and then enter, and you see it says no details found for whatever I typed in there, because that's an invalid query. So ideally that's how this system should work. So let's get to work. Let's try and enter other queries and see if the system is still kosher. Remember, only two things should be able to give you, only two queries should be able to give you registration details: valid ID or valid passport. Anything other than that should not work. Now let's try characters that actually form names, and I'll start with Brian. This is not a valid ID number. This is not, there's no passport number like this, there's no ID number like this, like that is called Brian. But when you press enter, look at what the system gives you. It gives you full registration detail for this person called Brian Katambani. And you know, I mean, how did this happen? Let's try another name. Let's try Kamau, and look, there we go. Again, according to this portal, Kamau is a valid ID number or a passport number. So there's a passport number with these characters, Kamau. Let's try another name, Anyango. Just random names right there. There we go. Again, it will give you registration details. Someone born in 1954 called Anyango Andrew Kakonya. I mean, this should not be happening. This should not be happening. And this is not made up. This is on the portal that Iebc will be launching in a few. Now we could argue that maybe the register admits names on a first name basis, but there are two problems with that. For example, when you say Anyango, there's so many Anyangos, or Brian, or whichever name, there's so many of them. So how does the system select if 10 Anyangos go into the portal? How does the system know which Anyango's details to give out? You know, so that's already questionable, not practical. Two, if we say the system admits names apart from ID and passport numbers, it can work with names. Let's give them benefit of doubt and say the system can work with names. And so if we enter a name like Anyango, it gives us details. Or if we enter a name like Eric, it gives us details. See right there. So let's assume the system is working with names. Then this should apply to all possible names. So let's try other names. Let's try James, and there you go, there's no James. So according to this register, if we were to argue that the register accepts names, then it means there's no single James that is a registered voter in this country. Or let's try Andrew, and there you go, no details. It means there's no single Andrew. I wonder how practical that is, or how possible that is. And let's try John. According to the register, you see it is not possible. That's an invalid entry. So it is not on the basis of names. Basically, it should be on the basis of a national ID or passport number, which should be valid. So let me experiment with a few names. Let me try Mary, which is a very common name, and there you go. So it selectively gives you voter registration details on certain names. If you try a name like Geoffrey, let's look at Geoffrey. There you go, it will give you results for Geoffrey. If you try a name like Peter, there are no results for Peter. If you try a name like Onesimus, it will give you outcome for Onesimus. If you try a name like let's try Vera, no details for Vera. So you can see it's very selective. Now the names I've shown you, just one last illustration. There's Onyango, which is female for Anyango, or male for Anyango. Anyango is female. This is Onyango. Then let's look at that. There we go. Anyango is a valid passport number according to the IEBC portal, which will be released soon. They are finalizing. They'll release it soon for Kenyans to use it. This, let me just show you. This thing was recorded at this screenshot has been recorded at 11 o'clock. I wish my computer can show that, but it's almost midnight. So by midnight, still this thing has not been fixed. Then let's try some ID numbers. I found this very interesting. There's this particular ID number starts with zeros, so it has 5 zeros at the beginning, and number 23, and it will give you voter details for Joseph Kaiga. Now, for you to have 000023 means you are the 23rd person ever to get registered, to have an ID. This guy was born in 1940, means right now he's probably 77. Now I know people who are way older than him, like 80, 85, but have more digits, like 5 or 6 digits in their ID. Again, we could argue that Mr. Joseph took his ID earlier than these other folk who are like 90, but they have more digits in their ID. So according to this ID number, this is the 23rd guy ever to get registered. So let's follow the sequence. Again, we'll see his peers, people who took or registered for their IDs around the same time as him. So let's see. The next ID number will give us again a valid name. This guy is called Nicholas Kipyator. And then let's continue with the sequence, and it stops giving you outcomes. So it means only Joseph and Mr. Kipyator are the only guys alive among their peers who really have IDs. And so you go on and does not give you queries. So again, I wonder, how possible is it that people who are peers took IDs at around the same time, like a long sequence? You can enter this query all the way to 80. You'll find like most of them, the details are missing. So either people who are born around that time with Joseph never took IDs, or they're all dead, or like, but it's just questionable that someone who is 70, someone born in 1940 is the 23rd person to get registered. Well, that's another issue altogether. My main concern is why characters which are not IDs are able to give you results. Names or letters which are not real ID or passport numbers are able to give you letters. Itumbi may want to dismiss this and wish it away, but here's the truth: this register has issues. This is not a NASA job. You can go online and try this for yourself. Actually, just go online, enter these characters. I had to try really a lot of names. I think I've demonstrated like 10 names, but I had to try like more than between 50 to 60 names for me to get 10 names. So you can imagine what that sample reflects on a scale of 10 out of 50. That's 10 out of 50. That's like a fifth. Now, if a fifth of 19 million, that's a big deal. That's really a big deal. That's almost 10 or something percent. So this register has issues, and that's the whole point. When the IEBC releases it, don't take my word for it. Don't take Dennis Itumbi's word for it. He does not speak for IEBC, neither do I, or for NASA. Just go and check this for yourself, and I hope IEBC will see this and do something about it. I'm out.